Matt Aguilar here from ComicBook.com, and today I have the true pleasure of speaking to WWE NXT superstar Tiffany Stratton. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know your schedule is always crazy busy these days.
It is, but I'm here. Let's do this.
Well, I appreciate it. I know you've got a big match, obviously coming up at No Mercy. Just kind of taking a step back to the original match between you and Becky Lynch, who you'll be facing for the title at No Mercy. That original match, did you what did you take away most from that experience, just kind of overall, but also in facing Lynch as an opponent, and kind of what are you taking from that into this next match?
Yeah, definitely going into that match. The pressure kind of got to me a little bit. Like, everybody has the what ifs or the imposter syndrome of like, oh my gosh, like it's only been 2 years. What am I doing here? Becky Lynch, I don't know. But I definitely, like I rise to the occasion when the pressure is on. And the match, I like honestly, even though I lost, I feel like I did not lose anything. Like I came out of that match, I feel like elevated. I brought my all in that match. Becky definitely, brought her all as well. And she definitely elevated me. And yeah, I feel like going into this match, and it's a Extreme Rules match. So, there could be a table, there could be a ladder, there could be a kendo stick. And I'm ready to show everybody a different side of me. And I'm gonna bring my everything and lay it all out on the line. I have literally nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Well, for sure, and you talked about it. Extreme Rules, that stipulation was added. And I'm not off the top of my head. Is that a match you have kind of done before in the past? Because I'm not 100% sure that you have, correct?
I think I did something similar with 1D2. It's actually probably one of my best matches I've ever had. It was a street fight. I think,
Okay.
yeah, it was a street fight, I believe. And honestly, like I feel like that was one of my best matches I've ever had. Um, so I have done something a little bit similar, but not entirely an Extreme Rules match.
And of course, I mean, look, I feel like it's safe to say there's no lack of bad blood between you and Lynch. And of course, an Extreme Rules stipulation raises the stakes. Does it change how you approach a match when there's things like weapons and the possibility of things? I mean, being in a normal match is already painful in some degree, but this kind of moves that up a bit. Do you change your approach at all or no?
Yeah, I would definitely say we're both gonna have to change our approach because it's an Extreme Rules match. Like I said, anything can happen. Tables, ladders, chairs, kendo sticks. So I definitely think we're both gonna do whatever it takes, literally. Like if there's a chair, we're gonna grab it. If there's a kendo stick, we're gonna grab it. So yeah, we're both gonna do whatever it takes.
Well, and you kind of mentioned it before, right? You have made a reputation of rising to the occasion, and being on these big stages, and never really seems to phase you. And the same was true of the match between you and Becky. The first time. I know obviously it didn't end like you wanted it to, but do you still kind of feel good coming out of that match? You kind of referenced it a little bit earlier, like you're standing toe to toe with one of the four horsewomen, one of the biggest stars in WWE. And so did that kind of soften the blow a little bit?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I definitely feel like, like I feel like anybody would go into that match very nervous and, like, what if this happens? What if that happens? But I definitely feel like you said, I rise to the occasion. And when the pressure is on, I am going to deliver no matter what. And I definitely feel like, my gymnastics background has helped with that tremendously. But coming out of the match, I may have lost my Tiffy title, but I definitely feel like I came out of that match, elevated. My stock, I feel like, has risen as well. Like, I just like overall, I was on a high for like a day and a half afterwards. So yeah, I didn't take losing to Becky Lynch as a loss.
Well, and two, you were on Monday Night Raw, and you appeared on Payback. And so it felt like between all of those things, I don't know, I feel like everyone was kind of getting a sense outside of NXT of, who Tiffany Stratton is. And
Yeah.
I know you had previously talked about, kind of looking ahead and being okay, like wanting to move to the main roster, wanting to move to Raw and SmackDown, as quickly as that could kind of happen. You weren't rushing things, but you were kind of like, hey, it happens today. Cool. We'll roll with it. Do you still kind of feel that way? Do you want to, when you are able to take Becky down and get the title back, are you looking at kind of making that reign different? How are you approaching that from a reign? Are you still having those two brands in your mind?
Yeah, I definitely feel like, with wrestling, you can never be perfect at it. There are so many different components that it takes to become a great wrestler, and I feel like you can always learn something every day. So if I'm going to be in NXT for another year, then okay, then I'm going to be even more prepared for Raw and SmackDown when I get called up. But if I get called up tomorrow or next week or the day after No Mercy, then I'm going to be ready. I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Well, and so I have to ask. So I know one of the things that comes up in your promos is toodles, right? And it's a great send off. But I gotta say, during the Becky Lynch back and forth, I don't think I've actually ever heard the word toodles said as aggressively and as angrily as it is the meanest toodles ever. Where did that like come from as part of like, kind of putting that together into your arsenal?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of High School Musical. I don't know if you know those movies, but
Oh yes.
Sharpay Evans is one of my like inspirations for my characters, and she always says toodles at the end of all of her sentences, and I just kind of like thought it was a good little, spiel or character trait or word that I could just add on to all of my promos, and then maybe put it on the back of a couple merch shirts, and yeah, I kind of just said it one time and it just stuck.
Yeah, it's become a regular part of the promos, but it's great. And also on Raw, they nicknames are also kind of a big part of the business. And Blockbuster Blonde
Mhm.
kind of came out in the commentary thing, and then you had some, Barbie kind of took everyone by storm, and it felt like that was a match made in heaven. um
Yes.
did you come up with the nickname? Was that something that kind of, the commentary team or creative kind of threw out there? How did that come about? And were you also just happy that, kind of Barbie fever took over and it worked out?
Are you talking about the Blockbuster Blonde
Yeah.
nickname?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of came from just creative in general. I never really came up with that. But the whole Barbie stuff, I actually wanted to be called like the buff Barbie doll since the very beginning. I pitched the Barbie stuff for a while, and they always told me that like, oh, we can't trademark Barbie. It's such a like a it's already a thing. But I was actually like, so when I was a bodybuilder, I got on like the little Snapchat stories thing, and they called me the buff Barbie doll, and I thought it was so cool. Like it matched perfectly. And then I tried to bring it to WWE, and they told me no. But I think just like with the Barbie movie coming out, and I think it was just the perfect time to like put my name in the Barbie letters, the pink gear, and just kind of like incorporate some Barbie stuff there.
Well, and it's one of those things like the character's so, I feel like, well defined, and like you've kind of found this rhythm and
Mhm.
this pocket. And of course, it's there are the fun heel tendencies and things like that. But you've also been very open about like your story and how you got to WWE and how difficult and challenging that was. It was a lot of starts and stops, and it was, being told no here or yes here, and then COVID hits and wait a year. And so,
Yeah.
upon hearing that, it's one of those things where it seems like it would be extremely easy to get discouraged, and even if it's your dream, so I think it's a really interesting case of the backstory being as compelling as also what's on TV, but in completely different ways. Do you kind of feel that as well? And what advice would you give to someone kind of trying to come in and break into this?
I definitely think people will like look at me and kind of like judge a book off its cover, and they're kind of like, "Oh, she's only here because she wants to be famous," or "She only got hired because she's a model, because she's pretty, because she's athletic," or just like things like that. And I feel like people don't even like take the time to really kind of get to know me and what I had to do to be signed by WWE. But yeah, my story is, I honestly, like, nobody looked at me. I submitted my application a couple of times, never heard anything back. Luckily I had a contact, and Greg Gagne, put in a good word for me. So it has been like a struggle getting here. And I definitely think, like, I worked really hard when I first got to WWE. I put my everything into it. I wanted to be on TV as soon as possible, and I did everything like I could that was in my power to get on TV. And I think people think I was just thrown on TV because I was pretty or because I was blonde. But no, like, I did everything in my power to get on TV. And I feel like some advice that I could give other people is to just make sure that you check a lot of different boxes. Like, make sure that, you have a good look, or you take care of yourself, you take care of your body, you eat healthy, try to become athletic. Yeah, just like make sure you try and check a lot of different boxes.
Well, I know I got to let you go here, but a real quick one. I know everyone has different pre-match and pre-show rituals and things like that. Is there a song that you tune up before you go out to an event or go out to the ring? Is there a particular song that right now, anyway, it doesn't have to be all time, but it could be right now, that kind of gets you amped for that?
Um, I don't think I have a song, but I do say like a little, I don't know if it's words of encouragement, but I do say, like, to the universe, I say, "Show me how good it gets." And that's just basically like asking the universe, like, to like show me how good it gets, like, I want to go out there and give my best performance, and show me I can do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time. I greatly appreciate all the best success. And you can catch all of our coverage on No Mercy right here on comicbook.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you.